I need to reset the match. Hold on.
One of them has Cunning, and one of them does
There we
not.
go. Okay, there we go. We're all set to go. Trey, call this for a minute while I make some fixes.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, they're both just looking at their hands right now. We've got
Probably trying to do resource decisions here.
resourcing.
I don't know.
So the Han Red, which we've already seen, it's basically like it's like the Han Yellow, but you moved like the Cunnings and some of the other bits, and you're pushing it more towards the Quinlan boss aggro yellow red version. Whereas Michael, one of our locals from Houston, is playing just the typical. He told us he had a little bit of tech in there in a couple situations.
I remember what he mentioned about. We'll see if it's relevant in this matchup.
See if he brings it out.
Okay, let's try again. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's our matchup. Ready to go here in round 6 of Swiss. Michael opening up with Han's ability.
Ryan is doing the same. You can see Han is tapped over there.
Okay, so both Hans.
So they're both going for 3 drops.
Looking for that early 3 drop here. Oh, I can turn these off now. There we go.
Ooh, and Ezra. That's one that I don't normally see in.
Really? I would have figured he'd be a staple in this deck.
It's the 3-4 versus the 3-5 is the issue.
Fair. Oh, what in the... Oh, I know what's happening. Hold on. Yeah, it updated here and not there. Let's try again. There we go. It showed correctly on stream. It didn't show correctly on our screen, but I can fix that.
So Michael's already made his resource drop and ditched his first resource that he played with Han, and Ryan has done the same.
Bam! Right away with the smuggled blaster.
Play. That's a strong.
Not messing around over here.
Play. I like that.
Going to go ahead, take Ezra, and pop that liberated slaves. Going to kick off Ezra's game text here. I think he left it in place.
He did.
Okay.
So now we've got a.
I'm sorry. Okay.
We've got a Sabine. We've got. I don't see the. Okay, Michael has the button. As the initiative, so he's probably going to get another attack out of Ezra, get a free play out of looking at that top card and getting an opportunity to play it, which is pretty strong given how hard Han hits his own hand. Han hits his own hand really hard to play extra resources, and then those just kind of go away. So Ezra's a smart way to get back some of that card disadvantage you're costing yourself for speed.
The focus is off, and I'm irritated by it.
I see it. It's not terrible, though.
It's not terrible, but it irritates me because it shouldn't do that. I need to get back to setting the manual focus on the over-the-table camera. I won't stop during the match and fix it, but I'll try and get it fixed before we get to top 8.
3-4 Waylay?
Ah, Waylay.
Waylay coming in.
Ooh, tempo strong. So Ryan's going to go to a 5th resource here. That's possibly a Plo Koon coming out?
I don't know why. I mean, it would be enough to clear Ezra and not die, but it does not feel like a great use of Plu, I'll tell you that. At least not to me. You tell me.
I mean, you just play. At this point, he's so far behind, he's just playing whatever he can play. Okay, Poe will do it. All right. I'm thinking
Poe's solid. I would not be complaining about Poe.
Poe's strong. All right, so now they're all... Everybody's getting to the 5, 6, 7 turn.
It's interesting, chat talking about Michael's sleeves not being opaque. You can see it a little bit on camera. Like, for example, it's weird. When I look on the big monitor here that we're using to watch the game, I can't see it. But when I look at the little monitor I'm using to stream off of OBS, I can see the backs of his cards. So it almost feels like it's a question of which monitor you're looking on. At least based on the fact that I'm looking at both.
I see it in the big screen, but
I can't.
I don't see it as
another Waylay.
Another Waylay. That's rough.
Just brutal, kids.
Ooh, double Waylay with a beater on the board like that?
That hurts.
Michael has his foot on the gas.
Plu's going to come in anyway and just clean up Ezra. Had enough of that shenanigans. Let's just get rid of him. All right, Michael, only 2 resources ready to go.
He'll have a third here in a moment.
Yeah,
so
I was
he'll
going to
get
say he's
another
going to have to
3
use
drop.
Han, I think, to get Han on the board.
They're playing quick. Playing quickly. When did he play that tapped?
Whoop. Okay. Ryan answering, doing the same.
Why did Michael play a resource tapped?
I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter in the end.
What did he just do?
He surprise striked.
Oh, surprise strike with Han.
Yep.
He's going to get a one off the top. Super fast. Come on, guys. You don't have to go this fast. Really gain
And for the
anything
first
here.
time, Ryan will take the initiative.
Attack right.
Yeah, I'll get him in a minute. I'll come find you after the match is over. Judge is offering me the chance to get pictures of the deck list for YouTube later, and I need to do that. But we were trying to scramble and to keep things on time here, so I'll get him later.
So Plo Koon is going to maybe, I guess, trade with Han here?
I mean, Ryan's on the button. It makes sense. I would do it, I think, in his shoes.
Unless he's got something else that can handle it instead.
It's going to be interesting because both of these decks are kind of, tempo focused, and it feels like right now they're just kind of trading punches. Not
Which
a
is
lot
funny,
of
'cause
not a lot of base damage.
To me, it feels like Michael is so far ahead. Just every interaction seems to end with Michael up something.
Yeah, but the
But if
board
you just
doesn't.
look at the board doesn't really reflect
Exactly
that.
my
I find
point.
that interesting.
Yeah, it might feel that way, but I think the board doesn't reflect that. I think what you're seeing is Michael having to work more difficult, work harder. There we go.
Michael or Ryan?
Michael work harder to keep up and stay ahead of the red, the little bit of the aggro, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think he's played a couple of cards. No, one was the blaster. So I guess he lost 2 cards on that one.
Okay.
When that died. But he killed a couple of guys for it and got the 5 damage in.
Chad asking if this is the final round of Swiss. It is not. We began today with 97 players, so we will be playing 7 rounds of Swiss. There are 76 players still left in the field as of round 6. Yep, there's Plu going to make the trade. Probably, I mean, again, in his shoes, I would have done the same thing. I think it's the right move. Now, it does leave Ryan a bit of an opening. He can go to 7 resources this round, and Michael can't.
Tech is a good is a good start there. Mm-hmm. Good thing to play.
2 open? Yep.
Now, everything. He's got... I don't know that he plays any 1s, so he's probably
Why did he
not
spend
going to-
4 for... Oh, he smuggled Tech.
He
That's
smuggled
why.
Tech, yeah.
Duh.
A good way to hide Tech from the potential of hand destruction.
Mm-hmm. Another Poe. And initiative change. Michael is sitting on a big boy Han here. I think that's going to be the play as we head into the next round here. He's going to need that to clear Poe.
Having the initiative is a good way to...
Well, I think that's one of the
be
reasons
here.
he took initiative was to make. Once the Poe came out, he was like, "Nope, I got to clear that. I've got the card to do it, but I need to go first." He's got a Kira, a Han, and an Enfys Nest.
This Enfys Nest is the lockout win the game card. Enfys Nest, if you can, once you play Enfys Nest, she bounces something, and then you just keep bouncing things, and that keeps them from putting anything on the board.
I know.
Really,
I know.
So he hasn't established enough
crazy.
control to do that yet.
No, I think he's close-ish.
He's close.
I think getting to the Han is going to make a big difference, but I think we're about to see the same. Oh, now
He bounced her.
here's
That's
Enfys.
not really going to. What is her butt?
Let's find out.
It looks like a 7.
Oh, hold on.
It's pretty
She's
good.
a 5/7 if memory serves. Yep,
So she's
5/7 Saboteur.
So if he can get a surprise strike here feels like it would do a lot of damage.
Surprise strike would be very, very handy here for Ryan. I'm sorry, for Michael, if he can pull one out.
Although he's not bouncing Han, so he
No, he
could
can't
just have
bounce
these guys could just pass each other like ships in the night, where Han is putting damage into the base and she's putting damage into the base as long as nobody's playing something little.
So do you think maybe you go ahead and swing with Han here and force him to burn Enfys on something else?
The only reason I might consider not swinging with Han here, if he's got that, which
That
is
would
the
do
card
it.
that I was waiting for.
That would
if
do
he's
it.
got that, then you just crush and you kill her.
Yep.
If he doesn't have that, maybe you make the choice that I'm going to sit and see what he plays before I attack with my first strike guy. But But now we have this is even. It just feels like it's been slightly tilted Michael's way from the beginning with that first hot shot on Ezra play.
He's had answers for almost everything Ryan has been able to try. Ryan has not been able to get anything to stick to the board. He's going to smuggle out a Cassian here. Between two waylays, and here comes a Cantina bouncer.
The
Again,
Cantina bouncer puts it back in his hand. Now it's done. Now it is all about everybody being locked out. He's got 9 damage attacking. They're both basically going to reset, and their hands and their resources are all in the same spot. So unless they have some other,
just going to replay Cassian from hand.
Unless somebody's hand just fails them, doesn't have the cards, this feels like it is about done because people are just going to start attacking. If he uses Han to try and control the board by attacking into Cassian, that feels like a mistake. That could be a mistake he would make. If I was this,
you think Michael? I mean, you're talking about wasting
Michael's
Han
attack.
on Cassian?
Yeah. Does Michael? Do you try to keep attacking and knocking people off the board and let him keep playing, or do you put the 8 damage into the base? And I think the correct answer here is to put the 8 damage into the base.
I think I would
use the cards in your hand because otherwise you're taking your 8 damage and knocking out his 3 damage, which is nothing.
Yep, which is exactly the call. First base damage we've had in a long time here.
You're putting him on the clock here.
Yeah, for sure. I am
13. That is 17. So it's a little more than 2 more hits. If he gets a hit in with Cantina bouncers here.
Okay, so surprise strike comes in. Cassian clears Han.
Still have Ryan has blown a card this turn and lost a guy, and Han has put 8 damage on the base. So it's not good for. Obviously, you don't want to lose the Han if you're Michael.
Right. I mean, Michael's now significantly ahead, of course, simply because Ryan hasn't managed to get anything to stick to the board.
And Michael has the what's her name in hand.
He's got Emphas in hand. Now, let me ask this question. You've actually played Han Yellow, right?
Yeah,
I simply have not. I've played against it. I have not played it myself. Is it more about you just play tempo, you play tempo until finally they just can't keep Ryan has never managed to keep one unit on the board more than an action or two.
So you play whatever the opponent is giving you. You have game in many different areas. You have the ability you start dropping 3 5s on turn 1 when they're dropping 2 3s.
Right.
So if you're playing somebody that is a control deck, like my first match when we played in Conroe was against a Vader green control deck, I just put my foot on the gas and did 3 5s over and over. Bigger dudes. I used Han to power out above the curve people and just attacked until he couldn't deal with it anymore. But then there were other situations where people were faster than me, and that would be where I would try to do the tempo. You try to in this moment, like the way Michael's playing, he wants to gain an edge. Just a slight edge. I have a guy at the end of the round. I have a guy on the board, and you don't.
And you don't.
And then now I just start using that tempo to push you back.
Right.
And I just keep that edge. I push you back, and then eventually the game ends.
You know, you and I were talking with some folks before the day began. You know, Boba drawing the ban many months ago now that kind of opened up the meta for the game has made a significant improvement in both the variety of decks, the type of decks, and in my opinion, the event turnouts that we're seeing. But Han, there's been some people who kind of intimate, rightly or wrongly, that Han1 also kind of falls into that same problem, right? Because it is
Absolutely not.
It messes with the resource curve the same way that Boba did.
It does mess with the resource curve, but not in the same way that Boba did. So Boba was able to put his foot on the neck of the metagame, and nobody could get out from under it. So
I agree with that.
If you had made that play, if you had made that call to ban Boba, and then Han steps up, and then it's just the same thing where Han wins every single thing, then that's what proves to the world that it was that Han needs to go as well. But that is not what happened. Like Han was big for a moment. It's not big now. Kira Green, not even yellow, not even is.
You're talking about today at this event. Like in a general though, like when you look at the global PQ results we've been seeing for the last 2-3 weeks, Han Yellow he's
up there.
Very prevalent.
He's prevalent in the top 8, but so are a bunch of other decks. And that's a healthy metagame. I think with the issue that people have with it is that it feels real bad to play against Han. So people are.
You're not wrong.
People are reacting to how it feels to sit down against Han and not be able to keep anything on the board because they bounced it. People are reacting to having all their resources stolen by Han.
Oh, that feels terrible.
The playing against a Han deck that does the Han deck things It's not a fair deck at all.
No.
It has a few different
be.
things it can do that are very unfair, but that doesn't make them good. Like, overall, they're not dominantly good. So it does feel bad to play against Han when Han is doing the Han things, but that doesn't mean you're going to lose. It's just harder to win. And so I think that level, it is a condition of the human psyche that you react far more to things that hurt than to things that feel good. And the worse it feels, the more you hate it.
Yep.
And so people playing against a Han Solo deck that's making it not fun to play the game, like if you want to ban it, if you want to make your argument that it's not fun to play against Han and it sucks to sit down across from him because he's doing unfair things like stealing my resources, then I would listen to that as an argument that has validity. But saying that Han should be banned because he's too powerful, he's just not, or he would be winning everything the same way Boba was.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just think it's interesting that Boba just in almost any color just absolutely took over the meta. Whereas Han, I think, as you point out, feels simply more really, really terrible to play against in almost every circumstance.
And the difference, I think, between the two of them, Boba Fett messed with resources in that he gave you extra resources every turn. But I don't think that in and of itself was enough to make him too powerful. What made him too powerful was his flip turn. The turn that he came out and flipped.
Yeah,
by giving you the extra resources and then coming out on 5 instead of 6, that is the extra kick he needed to put over the edge to win everything.
Yeah.
I think if Boba Fett was a 6, the way that he untaps resources is very powerful, but it's not enough to make him win everything. It's that coupled with being able to come out on turn 5 or on 5 resources.
I remember, when the game first came out, there was a lot of talk about Boba, obviously playing above curve for his stat line when it comes, the 5 deploy, the 4-7 for 5.
The 4-7, 5 deploy.
Right. When you looked at somebody like Cassian, who was a 4-6 saboteur that came out on 6, compared to a 4-7 5 drop, right?
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't make much sense. Thank you very much. We did manage to get some damage through there with I think K2.
We got lost in our Boba Fett Han conversation.
We did.
These guys are still in game 1. Michael's toying with his food here. How is he not? He's got all the stuff on the board. Ryan is a magician over there staying alive.
I think
it
looks like he's finally scooped. Yeah. I was looking at this going, I'm just not sure how Ryan thinks he's going to get back into this game. But at one point we're in turn 8 or 9 and he's put 0 damage through because he can't get anything to stick to the board.
Yeah.
Now this is an instance where I wish I had access to both players' sideboards, right? Like this is in the top 8, you and I get to do this,
right?
But right now we're intentionally avoiding deck lists because that's not information the players have either, and we don't want anything to kind of get by us.
All right, so we've got. I'm kind of trying to look at both sides here. I see Ryan's bringing in. He's brought in Fennec. He's brought in another Han. Well, that's a Plo.
Do you want to keep it on this camera view?
Do I want to what?
You want to keep it on this camera view?
Oh, the one we're looking at. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I'm just only watching this, and I'm looking down on the screen, and you're seeing everybody that's
you're
watching.
You're fine. I'll manage the stream side of things. Let these guys do their sideboard stuff.
So, like Michael, I didn't get to see what he's bringing in because he is another champion card flipper.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a blur. So we were talking about while they're sideboarding. We were talking about Boba and then the way that he was costed originally. So one of the things that I have when I look at any new card game that comes out, I have this goes all the way back to the beginning of Magic. It feels like the first set of a new card game, whether it's Destiny or this or Magic or Flesh and Blood or whatever it is, the first set is the designers figuring out how to make the game. And so you have some cards that are dead on.
There's your coming in.
Thanks, Michael. You have some cards that are dead on what should be the power curve, and you have some that are terribly far below the power curve, and they're just not good cards, and you have some that are above the power curve. And so then as you move forward and they narrow, okay, we know we built this, it was too strong, they rein that power in, these cards weren't good enough, they make that whatever that was in that slot in the later decks more powerful, and they kind of bring everything within, I guess, what I would consider the 2 standard deviations in the middle of what the power should be. Card design gets better, But then you have the artifacts of the earlier sets that are above the power curve that step in and make their presence known. And I think that was just Boba Fett was one of those things that got designed too earlier. The FFG playtesting process is interesting to me in that they base all of their games on a volunteer system.
Chat, there's nothing to see yet. I will let you know. We can see.
They're shuffling.
There's nothing to see.
They just don't want to listen to me.
You're good.
Tell them the Han's doesn't need banning.
There's nothing. No. And I'm not convinced that he does. My point is simply that I think it's noteworthy that both of the two leaders out of set one that have arguably caused the most consternation, let's say, amongst the player base have been leaders that specifically manipulate resources in some fashion.
Yeah, I like this game.
Yeah, but that's kind of what yellow does. Yellow is the tricksy color, so
it can be, yeah. It can be.
Bounces things. It changes resource counts.
All right, here we go. Game 2 getting underway here. Opening hands, resource decisions underway. Michael looking like he is he going to mulligan?
The feel of a mulligan.
Yeah, that's the mulligan. I caught him before this game began, and I asked him both these players 4-1 right now, by the way. I asked him, I said, how was the previous round? He goes, man, that was one of the worst draws I've ever had with this deck. I said, what do you mean? He goes, so I drew a hand that I really didn't have a good turn drop. Good, He goes, I got tons of 3 drops. My opening hand didn't have much to play. He goes, so I mulliganed. He goes, my draw after that was 3 surprise strikes, a blaster, and 2 7-drops. And I was like, are you serious?
I've had that.
Wow.
They both mulliganed. Ryan took a mulligan.
Oh yeah, so they did both take the mulligan here.
He looked at it. He had a Millennium Falcon in his open hand, so I'm kind of surprised he didn't stick with that, regardless of everything else.
I don't know. Is that really something to get excited about?
Yeah. Okay. A 3/4 in space is like. I've been told that this yellow Han has a good matchup against Sabine.
You've never felt that way?
I've never felt that way because I have lost to Sabine. When we played in Conroe, I had 2 losses in the whole day, and they were both the Sabines that made the top 8.
Okay.
And that were the only Sabines that I played. And I've been told by the people that I was sitting across from that you should have won, but I got the nut draw.
All right, so
you got a terrible draw.
He has a Cunning and Ezra, a Tech.
So I feel like Tech that's a DJ on the left.
Okay.
So
and
I feel
think, is that a Kira? I can't make out what the second one from the left is.
The jetpack.
Okay.
I guess Tech is in his hand.
That's the jetpack on the very end. Oh, I think it's Bodhi Rook. Yes.
Okay. Bodhi.
Second on the left is Bodhi. He's got a Bodhi and Ezra. He's got a couple of turn 1 plays here.
I figure he's putting the jetpack down because it has smuggle. That's not always the right play, but
he hasn't. He's got to make a second card here. Got to resource something else.
He keeps grabbing that Cunning and shuffling it to the front like he's going to put it down, and my heart just screams no every time. Not that I think he's going to.
Going for the jetpack. All right. Yep. Ryan starts on the button here as Game 2 gets underway. With the predictable, let's put out a resource. Michael will probably answer in kind here in just a moment.
Curious if he's going to put down. I'm curious if he's going to go.
Hey, look.
He's thinking about.
Who could have predicted it? All right.
I blinked and didn't see what he put down.
I didn't see either. It looks like Ezra's going to be his opening play. Yep. So we're going to Cassian on the left and Ezra on the right.
So Cassian, without the hotshot blaster, Cassian is not going to be able to stop Ezra from doing Ezra things.
I feel like part of this match comes down to draw, Trey. Do you draw the right cards? Like Ryan on the button, does he have the blaster? If he starts with the blaster here, the tempo swings a little in his favor. That starts to feel pretty good, right? If he doesn't have it, and if Michael has it, starts to feel a little bad. And he does. There. Okay, so.
Cassian needs 3 damage on him.
So, the blaster will clear Michael's turn 1 play.
If you're expecting that, because you don't have the card. He's going to play. You can't really drop anything now because you drop Tech.
I was going to say, he's got Tech in his hand. That's about as good as it gets.
All that's going to do is kill those other 2 cards. It's going to kill Han or Cassian and the blaster because he'll just attack into it. Because he's going to take the button. So Michael made that play knowing that that was exclusively to set up a trade here.
Chat saying they like the cunning resource into Han mirror typically. I'm not sure I understand how that works precisely. Help me out.
I don't know what that means. Cunning resource.
So do us a favor, elaborate a little bit. Help me understand what it is, because I am not as familiar with playing this deck. Help me understand what you mean when you say it that way. Sitting on a surprise strike, a cunning, and I cannot make out what that unit is in Michael's hand.
Whatever it is, that's the thing he's playing this turn.
Clearly. It looks like it might be a liberated slaves. Cannot tell.
Natural, right? From
Yeah,
hand?
yeah, from hand.
So,
Yeah, that's
Gonna make
that's
the trade.
You get rid of tech. You don't want cards.
Just get rid of it.
It is a liberated.
It is a liberated slaves. Okay.
So now Michael wants to do. Michael wants to keep that guy around.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to want to play a 4-drop. He's going to play that cunning on his next turn, unless this is a cunning. But I don't know. You want the cunning to do something with your own guys.
So what they're talking about is resourcing cunning and then playing it with tech rather than holding it in hand and risk getting it yanked with an opponent's cunning.
His cunning just got just play for cunning. Just not. Just
there we go. And it's not a surprise strike. It's a waylay in his hand.
Yeah.
So Kira coming in.
Yeah, obviously.
What was it?
He's using.
Which card did he point to?
Oh, cunning.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Initiative swaps back. Plowing ahead. It's interesting. I'm not sure. I've seen tempo decks played. I'm not sure I've ever seen a tempo deck play against a tempo deck before. This feels just like each one trying to grasp for the upper hand.
Jockeying for position on the
Quite
table.
literally. It feels like we're not going to see serious base damage until the late game. Very much like we did in game 1, right?
Right. I think if you're Michael at this point, both of them can flip Han. You don't really want to give up your Han just to get rid of that Kira so that you can play.
No, you really don't want to.
7.
Third base.
Oh, there's his tech. Oh, he's got a secret one out. Okay, so this is the card. In his hand, he has the original
Infus
Nest. The
right,
one
that was one of the ones he was talking about.
He was excited about that one, so we'll see.
Now, I don't want to.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't
want to
flash it up until he plays it.
He told us about it earlier.
He did.
Now we'll see what he does. It's a 5 damage guy.
I'm genuinely curious. Chat basically saying that's a little bit of new tech coming from the other side of the pond that some of the French Han yellow players have started working into their decks.
See, I would want to get Michael's take on that and see if it was developed independently or.
I am curious. All right, Ryan's Han hitting the board first here, though. And I forget what his original Infus cost 6.
Put it up.
I don't recall.
Can you pull it up on the cards?
I can. It is 6.
It's 6 for a 5/4 ambush,
which is what we're about
five,
to see.
5
I'm
is a
pretty sure
big.
he's gonna
5
play it,
damage
and
is a
there it
big
is.
one. So he's going to take no damage back from Kira.
So he's going to murder. He's going to murder Kira for free, and then he'll deploy his own Han.
Just got to see what Ryan is doing.
What's Ryan sitting on for his 6 resources?
Now, that is a problem with it.
He's going to go ahead and take
trade
care
with Han.
Yep.
He does die to Han.
Yep.
But now, unless, Han into Han.
Oof.
That was what he was waiting on.
Ooh, that's a big play for Ryan. He needed that. That might be the big swing right here.
I'll claim.
It's a big swing. If Michael doesn't have an answer for that Han pretty quickly. I could feel that one coming whenever he started to attack with Kira to get some damage in early, but then said, no, I'm going to make sure I flip my Han first so that I get the attack. I get the resource off of the attack. So I felt like he had something, a big 7 something there.
I just realized Ryan played that turn almost to perfection. He had to sequence that perfectly because he had to use Han's ability, deploy Han, then attack all before Michael deployed his leader to pull that off.
Yes.
That was really well executed.
I feel like I would have wanted Michael to, from Michael's perspective, I feel like if you don't have the 7, you got to assume they have the 7 in this matchup, and so you've got to try to be the one to get to 7 resources first.
Yep. So Ryan's going to lose his leader Han, and Michael's going to lose his slaves, and so the board is clear. Big boy Han stands alone here. All 6 resources available for Michael for him to make a play.
But now he's behind.
He's definitely behind now. That's a big unit to answer.
And he has the ability to drop a resource with his own Han and then
he does
Han into Han,
but he doesn't have it. He's got a cunning, he's got a cunning and a falcon.
He's got a falcon.
Or is it
I'm just trying to decide which one he wants to do.
Some kind of space unit.
That wasn't a falcon?
It's either a falcon or an Ozotuck. You see some Ozotucks played in this deck as well.
I use
right.
one.
I don't know which one it is. It's some kind of space unit. That's all I can
don't know
tell.
what he would be dropping that for. He must have a smuggle card that we didn't see.
It is a falcon. Okay. I couldn't quite make it out.
Now, the issue with him playing that right now is that he gives up. If he draws a 7, he's not going to be able to play it without bouncing the falcon back.
Yep.
But he will at least get that knowledge before he has to make the decision. He'll know if he needs to keep it, needs to that 7th resource.
Now, let's assume for a minute that he can't play the cunning in his hand because he can't afford it, and if he uses Han's ability, he has to give it up to be able to. So he's just going to go 3 in.
So he gave up the button he gave up the initiative for that.
For 3 damage. Yeah, he's going to lose initiative here. I'm sure Ryan's going to grab it. He does have 2 unspent resources, but I feel like with a K2 and a Han on the board, you got to feel really good about this. Yep.
I just see a Han for Michael.
I didn't see that would be a big pull for him if he can come up with it now. Staying on the button like this. Okay.
Yep, he did.
He is going to draw back. Okay, so that's about the only reason. Yeah, he must have drawn. Otherwise, there's no reason to be built the Falcon back.
Three.
All right, here we go. Han into Han. A little bit of Han violence.
What did Ryan do?
What did he what?
Did I just have like a brain fart? Why does Michael have the initiative? I thought. Oh no, Ryan played the.
I think when Ryan played the K2, Michael was able to grab it.
I got it now. So now Michael basically needs a turn where Ryan doesn't do anything or does something that he can easily counter on the next turn, because otherwise he's just playing.
To me,
from behind.
Ryan is still in the driver's seat here. Michael's turn is Michael's turn's over.
Michael's turn.
He's made his play
I'm
for the turn.
with you. Ryan has to whiff on something. He has to play something that's going to let Michael take the initiative and then use Han again to kill whatever he plays, or just not have anything, and then that's a moment.
Now he's
that
sitting
Michael
on, what
can
has he
take
got in there? I see Akira. I think it's a Bamboozle. I can't make out that card underneath his hand.
Huh? Oh, it's a Han.
Oh no, I think it's a Blue Clune. It is. It's a Blue.
It has the same color.
It's a Blue. It's a similar coloration. That's a Blue Clune. So I think you go to base with K2 here. That's what I think I would do.
So here,
4 to base. I think that's what I would do in his shoes.
The thing going on now, for Michael, from his perspective, he still has that cunning in his hand. He's holding.
He does.
Cunning. And by holding that cunning, that has a chance of being. Why is he? Oh, I'm looking at the cards wrong.
All right, so Ryan's got 7 resources, 3 cards in hand. He's got a Blue Clune, Akira, and he's going to bring a tech out. He's going to smuggle out a tech. That leaves him 3 standing. What's he going to do with his last 3? He can't afford anything else in his hand. There's no
have to
point.
have a 2-drop.
Does he have another smuggle card he wants to bring
It would have to
out
be a
now?
2-drop smuggle card. So I feel like the first thing to do. Oh, he could have a 3-drop smuggle card here.
There we go. He uses Han and plays Kira.
Doesn't matter. Like Michael's got enough that he'll just pay for it this time. But Michael's first move is going to be to use Han to smash into Tech to keep all of those cards face down.
I would think so. Wrong side of the board. Sorry, y'all. That one's in the right place. Anyway, those are the two cards that Ryan played. One of them's just on the wrong side of the board. All right, so now Ryan's finally able to kind of get a board presence going here.
And he can afford to just pay for Cunning. The full...
He'll pay whatever he has to pay.
But I still think he keeps...
I still think
the first job is to kill Tech so that you keep all those cards face down.
So the question is, do you play the Cunning?
To do what?
I don't know.
There's
a lot of options
You
there.
might, but you kill Tech first.
Okay. To keep everything in the row where it is.
Keep all the face down cards in the back where they belong. And then, well, maybe you hold Cunning for the next turn. Maybe because whatever else he's got with the Millennium Falcon in his hand. He's got a Millennium Falcon and a Cunning and something else in his hand. Yeah. Take the damage back. So now Han can die, but it's going to cost Kira and K2SO to do it.
Unless he's got a surprise strike. He's going to Plu, and he's going to use Plu Clue to trade because Coordinate kicks in.
That is also a way to do it.
That is a good play. Well, and that's what I was thinking about, Chat. Chat was basically saying Cunning can bounce Tech and tap the others. I was thinking that also might be a play.
Or he could just play another Han.
Or he could just play another Han.
And free up his Cunning.
So he drew into he top decked the Han. K2 is going to go in there. That's going to be 1 Overwhelm.
And then 3 for
and
whatever.
3 more. So it's going to be a total of 4 to base.
4 going to 8.
Michael's going to 8 damage on. There we go.
By holding on to the Millennium Falcon, he made it so that he protected Cunning there.
Okay.
Because if instead of doing the 3 damage to the base when K2SO died, he could have dinged his hand, and if only thing he was holding was Cunning, it would have gotten rid of the Cunning. Which that feels like it's a big swing in this match, is one deck having Cunning and one deck not having Cunning.
Yeah.
So if he can ditch one and get rid of it.
All right, so we're well into this game, but very little damage. Oop, my base numbers are a little off. Very little damage on for both players. Everybody trading punches, but here we are when it has to be maybe turn 9 or 10, and the board is empty.
Well, Michael should have 3 cards in hand.
There's that Falcon.
And he has the Cunning and the something else that he drew this turn. What is that? Oh, that's the other Millennium Falcon is now on the board.
So now we're going to. So
Falcon
he is
that he played out of
smuggling
hand.
in. Yep, the big Falcon. Oh, no, sorry. He played that from hand, not from smuggle.
Yeah, otherwise he doesn't get the ambush.
Correct. Yep. Now, to me, this is one of the weaker points of these Han decks. They generally don't play a lot of space units. There's an Enfys.
There's an Enfys. Now we've got Enfys versus Space Falcon.
But she can't bounce
She doesn't bounce the Falcon, but
unless she has a surprise strike.
Yeah, which can happen, but or with the Cunning he's got in his hand can raise her damage.
That would allow him to bounce this back to hand. Yes, he could do that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But Ryan over there, I'm not knowing exactly what's in his deck. I'm not sure what.
He's got a blaster down there, but nothing to put it on. Chat pointing out that Ryan needs to move this along. Time is running out. We're coming down to about 15 minutes left in the round, and I'm actually not sure my timer. I think my timer is actually a little slow.
Yeah, so Ryan and they both need to move it along since they both lose if it goes to time.
Both these players are 4-1. They do not want this to go to time.
No, they don't want to. No,
you do not want this. And if they go to a game 3, the way they've been playing, this will end up as a double loss.
So Ryan, I think, recognizes that and is trying to push damage through.
Yep.
He just did 8.
Is a surprise strike?
Yeah. Well, he
Big
played
hit.
something and then did a bunch of damage with it immediately.
Yep. 16 damage on for Michael.
So the Enfys Nest has basically made a bunch of cards in Ryan's hand dead. In Ryan's deck dead. He has a bunch of dead draws now.
Yeah.
Because what is he about to pop out? Is he about to pop out another Millennium Falcon?
He
1, 2,
could
3,
to
4,
clear the
5,
damage.
6, 7.
Why would you resource that one card? It's a DJ.
Okay, so it's a DJ.
I think the 3. But why would you do that? Jetpack smuggled in here. That was one of the first cards Michael resourced in this game.
So Jiki, yes, if this goes to time and they don't finish this game at all, Michael wins, and he wins
Correct.
1-0. But yeah, so the only way time, I don't think that this particular game is going to last another 15 minutes. What we're talking about time is if this game ends and goes to a third game, which means Ryan has won, then they don't have much time left to play that third game, which would then be a double loss. I don't think either of us is considering that this particular game is going to go another 15 minutes plus the
It
extra
seems
round.
unlikely, but my point is that it's taken them now 40 minutes to get to this point of Game 2. I don't know. They're not going to finish a Game 3. It will not happen.
No. But that's what somebody was saying. It's not if it ends like this, then Michael wins, which is correct.
Yep. I apologize. Initiative's in the wrong place. Ryan on the button here.
Just go in. Michael's
7
just
to
gonna go
base from Enfys.
And that jetpack boosts her to a 7, which does let him bounce the Millennium Falcon.
Okay, which he hasn't done.
No, he pointed at it. Michael pointed at it. He just hasn't picked it up yet.
Okay.
Two resources ready?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Still not seeing it. Oh, there he
it is.
goes.
Just
Okay.
takes a moment.
Ryan just hadn't picked it up. Okay, there we go.
Efficiency of movement,
All right.
sir. He had to take
That's all right.
his hand off of his cards. He might as well make the play, too.
Smuggle in a Cassian there on the left-hand side of the board once Enfys has gotten her attack off. But, I mean, Michael can just claim here, and I think he's probably got a path, I won't say definitive path to victory.
All it does is going to pop
5.
the shield.
You had enough for the blaster?
He did.
So
He
he's-
did have enough for the blaster. Yep.
Surprise strike.
5 for Cassian.
And so that's the Falcon, right? Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, so another blaster on Cassian pushes through 5 more damage onto Michael's base, brings him down to single digits.
21.
And he just bounce him immediately.
That's my point. I mean, I'm not it feels a little bit like a desperation move with Michael on the button because Enfys is just going to laugh it off.
He still hasn't played Cunning.
Yes, 21.
No. He might have resourced it by now at this point.
No, you never. If Michael resource Cunning, he's a terrible player. You never resource Cunning. I'm sure there are reasons when you might actually do it, but the Enfys Nest, if you can buff her attack, she is the new one.
She's insane.
gross.
She's really, really good. She's basically like just a built-in waylay if you can get her to stick to the board. Nine resources. It looks like 2-3 cards in hand for Ryan. Michael on probably, let's see, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 resources for Michael.
I feel like
Michael on the button.
Here's where Michael just sits back on Cunning.
Bounce cap.
He's just going to punch things. He's going to punch the base. He's going to make attacks.
Yeah, he's going to punch the base
Bounce
and bounce
Cassian.
Cassian.
Now Cassian has to place I guess no 5-7 or 7-7 now is not enough. Like even Big Han can't get through her right now, and then he would just bounce him back.
Chat pointing out that Ryan could just literally put Cassian back with Han's ability and smuggle him in again. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Hadn't thought about that play, but it is kind of a neat interaction between those two cards. If he wants, he's got 7 resources set aside over there for something. 5, 6, 7. Is that
That's a
is that Mace Windu?
Mace Windu, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
All right, so Mace is
the bad man with the purple glow stick has hit the field and cleans out Bodhi Rook.
So here we're gonna do.
Classic Enfys comes in to clean up Mace.
So you got his second. Enfys taking this home for the.
This is just
Double
the
yellow.
Enfys Nest show over here in this Han deck. What a battle!
This is two heavyweights going at
It
each other.
kind of is. It's got that heavyweight boxing match to it. Just they're trading punches.
They both top out at
We
the same
liked-
thing, so they're kind of playing the same cards.
Yeah, we liked well, and I really liked Ryan's board position earlier in the game. But man, Michael has just punched his way back into this matchup, and we're basically dead even in terms of damage.
I think he just did,
But I mean,
but he didn't have the resources.
you
to
certainly
play
like
it.
Michael's board position better right now as he adds Kira to the pain. He's got a waylay and a big nasty falcon. He's going to make the
you-
waylay
you
more
c-
expensive, and
yeah,
Ryan's
you
just
call
going
the waylay.
to
There
Ryan's
it
just going
is.
to be like, man, you got to be kidding me here.
There it was.
Michael
was a
looking
good game.
on the back foot, but a 2-0 win here in
was a
round
good
6.
You drew into another freaking Han.
I drew
You drew into another Han, you turd.
I was going like fire. Last match, it was horrible. So,
What an amazing match. Well done to both players. I feel bad for Ryan. He's now played on camera today and
Twice.
hasn't even won a game.
Hasn't won.
But
we
I mean,
haven't
that
seen
was a
any
great
game
match.
go to 3 games.
Say what?
Is that we haven't seen a single match.
We
go
haven't
to
seen a
3
single match go to 3 games yet, which does feel a little bad. But man, what honestly
That was the best game we've watched.
that was one of the best matches we've seen today for sure. For sure.
yeah, well, I cited board